Hello everyone, today I'm here to share some of my favorite holiday reads. So you guys know I'm seasonal. I do like favorite fall reads, favorite spooky reads, favorite summer reads, favorite holiday reads. I do all of the seasonal reads. I don't think I'll ever stop because honestly, I enjoy reading them and I enjoy recommending them. So I hope you're not sick of them either. I try to have new ones every single year and hopefully I do good on that. So today's video is gonna be filled with some of my favorite holiday reads, like Christmassy, kind of just books that take place around Christmas, New Year's, that has the holiday vibe. I have a mixture of adult books and YA books, so let's get right into it because I actually have a lot this year. I remember when I first started my holiday reads, I barely had any. Now I have a ton to recommend. The first book I want to recommend to you is Holidays by Christina Lauren. This is their latest book. They are an author duo and this is their first kind of holiday read. This follows a character named May, and May loves Christmas time, but this year she's just having not the best Christmas. She learns that her family is selling their cabin that they go to for every Christmas. She has her family that goes. She also has like her parents' best friends and their sons and her other best friend, parents' best friends, and it's just like a big old like family pretty much. And so when she learns that they're gonna sell their cabin, she's very distraught. And as she's leaving the cabin after Christmas, she like throws a thought in the universe, like, show me what will make me happy. And then there we kind of have the Groundhog Day effect where she wakes up on the plane going to the cabin again and things keep happening and she keeps repeating it over and over until she eventually gets it right. And of course, at the center of this is a romance. We have a character named Andrew who has been in her life ever since she was little because he is one of her parents' best friend's son, and of course she's harbored a crush on him for many years, and ... you can guess it because kind of all romance follows the same, similar line. But I really enjoyed this one. It takes place at a snowy cabin, it's Christmas time, it's friends to lovers with kind of a time travel element into it, but it was just fun and adorable and the perfect book to read near the holidays. I'm going to try to switch back and forth from adult to YA so it's just kind of fair, I guess. I don't know. But one of my favorite, maybe my most favorite holiday read is The Afterlife of Holly Chase by Cynthia Han. I remember reading this a few years ago. I heard about it and I was like, I'll try it because I did enjoy Cynthia Han's books. And I have to say, I really loved it. It is a reimagining of The Christmas Carol. We all know the famous story. In this book, we have a character named Holly Chase who is just, let's be honest, she's horrible. She's not great. And then she's visited by the ghost of Christmas past. She's visited by all the ghosts, Christmas past, present, future, things like that, to try to change her life. Otherwise, it's gonna be miserable. And she does not change her life. Then she died, and now she's stuck working at Project Scrooge, and she's actually the current ghost of Christmas past. So she has to visit all of these people to try to correct their errors because, she didn't do it. And then she's assigned this one guy that she actually has feelings for, and things get really complicated from there. And it's just a fun reimagining while also teaching you a lot about life and decisions and, happiness when it comes to life. And I loved it. Will always recommend it as a perfect YA holiday read. Moving back into adult, we have One Day in December by Josie Silver. This one, while the cover looks very Christmassy, I don't know if I would classify it as a Christmas read. It's hard, to say what's a Christmas read and what's not, but I did read this. Did I read this last year? No, I read this 2 years ago for the 'Tis the Season-a-thon, the readathon that I host. It's all holiday themed. And I think with that, I'd always tie it to Christmas. And the cover, the title, and it's just Christmas. So this book is all about a character named Lori, and Lori is just not happy with her life. She's just really struggling, and she's on the bus one day going home from work in London, and she meets eyes with this strange man at the bus stop, and they both kind of are instantly drawn to each other, and she tries to get off the bus, he tries to get on it, and it just didn't happen. She's been trying to find this man for a year, and then suddenly one day her best friend's like, hey, let's throw a party together and I want to introduce you to my new boyfriend. And who should the new boyfriend be but Jack, the mysterious man from the bus stop. So what goes on from there is this book takes place during many years of Lori having feelings for Jack, but she can't do anything about it because he is her best friend's boyfriend. And it's very it has a love triangle element into it, and I just really loved it. It's very kind of a heart-wrenching love story. It would be a great movie that I would definitely see. So if you want one that's Christmassy, kind of New Year's, but also takes place throughout the entirety of the year. I would recommend this one. Also, if you want like a really tragic love story, go for this one as well. Next up, I have 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. I read this last year during Christmas, and it's honestly just really adorable. So in this book, we have a character named Sophie, and she like just wants freedom from her overprotective parents. Her boyfriend recently breaks up with her, and so she travels like back to her aunt's house to be with her family and things like that. Her aunt and all of her family members decide to set her up on these dates with just random, you know, guys that they think they'll pair off with. They even have like a pool of like whose date will be better and things like that. Basically, she starts to have feelings for somebody that's been in her life forever, and things go from there. But this is just an adorable book. It's got a whole big family in it. It's got the 10 blind dates element to it with Christmas. And it was just a fun Christmas read. Like if you want something light and fluffy and funny, this is perfect to read during the holidays. I will say that probably 50,000 times. Since our last book was about 10 blind dates, I have the 12 dates of Christmas with 12 blind dates. So we're upgrading from YA to adult. So this book, we have a character named Kate, and Kate is also very unhappy about the holidays. She's 34 and she's ready to settle down. She's ready to find the man of her dreams. She decides to go on this site that offers these 12 blind dates. And so basically it's like group dates where one date she'll meet a guy, they'll go salsa dancing, they're all set up, like, or a cooking one and things like that. And she's trying to find, you know, her leading man. And again, throughout it all, we have a character that's been in her life forever that maybe, just maybe, she's like, oh, I think I have feelings for you. I mean, yes, a lot of holiday romances are very predictable. Yes, but I still love them. So this was cute. It takes place in this really small town in England called Blexford. It was cute. It's not one of my favorite holiday reads, but it's still a cute one. If you just want a fast, cute holiday read, look no further. Another one of my all-time favorite holiday reads that I always recommend every single year is My True Love Gave to Me. This is 12 holiday stories because the 12 days of Christmas, and this is edited by Stephanie Perkins. We have a whole myriad of authors. We have David Leviathan, Rainbow Rowell, Laini Taylor, Kirsten White, Gail Foreman, Holly Black. We have a whole bunch. And so this has 12 holiday stories in it, and some of them are just some of my favorite that I've ever read. I think I have a whole video just about this book. I mean, I feel like I've read it probably like 6 years ago, which is insanity, but I think short stories, a short story collection actually, is a great thing to read near the holidays because you can just read one for, especially leading up to Christmas, the 12 days leading up to Christmas. That's a great idea right there. So do that. But they're all just cute and adorable. I think my favorites in this were Midnights by Rainbow Rowell. It's a Yuletide Miracle, Charlie Brown by Stephanie Perkins. I really liked also, I think Jenny Han has a story in here as well. Yes, Polaris is Where You'll Find Me by Jenny Han. It's just a fun, really cute Christmassy book, like all of these are. Another recent read for me this year is This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. Again, this is kind of like We Met in December, which it's not exactly overtly Christmas. Like the cover, you know, it came out around Christmas. The cover looks kind of Christmassy, but this one really kind of centers around New Year's, I would say. So we have this character named Minnie, and Minnie was born on New Year's Eve, like 12 o'clock a.m. on New Year's Day. And basically the whole book starts with Minnie's mom giving birth to her, and Minnie's mom is paired with another woman in the same birthing room. Minnie's mom helps this other woman go through her birth as well as her own, and Minnie's mom confides into this other woman like she's gonna name her daughter Quinn because nothing bad ever happens to Quins. Quins are winners and things like that. And lo and behold, the other woman steals the name and names her son Quinn, leaving Minnie left named Minnie. And so pick up many years later as Minnie is kind of seeing her birthday as a curse. Like everything that bad that happens always happens on her birthday. So she basically, when she's older, she meets actually the Quinn that stole her name, and they become friends, and things kind of go from there. And this book has a lot of things in it. Minnie struggles a lot with her love life, with her business life, and Quinn also is very, you know, confident in his business life, but his mom struggles a lot with anxiety, and he hasn't had a really full-fledged relationship because he can't commit himself because his mom is always there and always calling him all the time to help save her. And so he's very conflicted. So Minnie and Quinn have kind of this tumultuous relationship, I guess you could say. And we see a lot of New Year's past, where Quinn's New Year's and Minnie's New Year's, and how they may have inadvertently met and now realized it. And it's a really cute book. It's not one of my favorite, nor again isn't overtly very Christmassy, but it does give me Christmas vibes because the whole book starts off on New Year's. It really kind of centers around New Year's. So I would recommend it. Again, it's got kind of the same vein as One Day in December, where we have this really kind of, I don't want to say tragic love story, but just kind of a epic overarching love story. Like not insanely cute and fluffy, but not like make you cry 1,000 pieces. Somewhere in the middle of that maybe, but I enjoyed it. Last book I want to recommend is Snow and Love. This is 3 short stories by Melissa De La Cruz, Nick Stone, Amy Freeman, and Casey West. Oh, 4 short stories. I was wrong. I read this a couple years ago. It was cute. It's not one of my favorites. When I think of favorite YA short stories like holiday, I always go back to one My True Love gave to me, but this was cute. I will say my favorite stories in this were, I think, from Nick Stone and Casey West. They all have different ones. One's about a snowy road trip, one's about a Hanukkah miracle, another one's about a Christmas Eve, another one's about a scavenger hunt amid the holiday crowds, and they're all just cute. It's really short. It's only 250 pages. So if you want like a short read for your Goodreads goal to like get into that, I would recommend checking this one out. The last 2 adult books, because I have other ones I want to talk about, I want to recommend. I like them, I just didn't love them, so I did want to share them just in case you might be interested in them. One is We Met in December by Rosie Curtis. I read this last year and it was just okay. It's about a girl named Jess who decides to move to London, and she shares this flat with like 4 strangers. And one of them is Alex, and she meets him on the first night and she knows there's an immediate connection. And she decides, you know, when she gets back from Christmas vacation that she's gonna ask him out. And when she gets back from Christmas vacation, he is actually in a relationship with another roommate in the same house. And so again, it's got that kind of One Day in December where like they can't be together, something's happening, like something's keeping them apart because they're dating other people. And it was cute. It just wasn't super memorable. But if you're trying to just find a cute, fluffy Christmas read, maybe check this one out. It just wasn't one of my favorites, but still wanted to talk about it. And the other one is The Tourist Attraction by Sarah Morgan Thaler. This one is not like super Christmassy. I don't even remember if it took place in Christmas, but it does take place in Alaska. And I think Alaska, I think of like North Pole and Christmas because Alaska. But this one is about a guy named Graham who owns this little like food shop called the Tourist Trap, and he just kind of loathes tourists. Like he hates them even though he makes a living off of them. And then one day a girl named Zoe comes to Alaska because she's always wanted to go there, and she meets Graham, and you can guess like a surly guy and like a really like happy-go-lucky girl get together, things happen, and there you go. But this is, I had some qualms with this. Number one, the length. It's like almost 400 pages, and I didn't really feel like it needed to be. But if you're looking for kind of Christmassy, but set in a very, very cold place, I would check out The Tourist Attraction. And I know the sequel just came out as well called Mistletoe and Mr. Right. Maybe that one's more Christmassy. I'm not 1,000% sure. Quickly before I am done with this video, I do want to mention some short stories. So I've mentioned some books that are a collection of short stories, but I've also read a lot of just singular short stories that are very holiday-esque and perfect to read for Christmas, especially, you know, when it gets to this year, you don't have a lot of time to read. Like I read probably the least of all in December because of just life, honestly. So these are perfect to read for those times. First up will be Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert. In this short story, we follow a character named Will and Abby. And Will is a famous movie star, and he's always been close to Abby and her family. He's best friends with her twin brother, and he's been in love with Abby for so long. So he decides that this year he's gonna confide in her and that he loves her and he wants to woo her. And you know, it's a perfect friends to lovers romance set in a snowy cabin during Christmas, and oh, I loved it so much. It had the perfect amount of romance, of steam, and just cuteness. I was there for it. Perfect short story to read near Christmas. Likewise with Booked for Christmas by Lily Menon. So in this book, we follow a character named Sophie, who is an author, a romance author, and she really loathes this book critic called Wolf, who is always leaving her like books like with scathing reviews. Like it's just horrible. And so basically what happens in this little short story is she throws a holiday party with all of her friends, and somehow the book critic Wolf shows up, and she's like, I guess you could stay. And then somehow also he gets stuck with her alone in her own house because of like a snowstorm. And it's a great hate to love romance. I wanted more from it, but again, much like all of these, they're short, they're cute, they're romantic, they're Christmassy. and again, short, so perfect to read. Then we also have the Christmas Pact. I forget who this was by, but this is a very short story that I really would have loved to see. I want to see all these full-length novels, honestly. But this one is about, it's going to be really interesting to explain. So we follow a character named Riley Kennedy, who always gets her email confused with Kennedy Riley. So it's a guy, and they're always emailing back and forth because their emails get sent because, you know, they have the same names pretty much, just the different combinations of them. She's Riley Kennedy and he's Kennedy Riley. Very interesting. And somehow they work for the same company, and they finally meet at this Christmas party, and he decides, hey, like, I'll go home with you for New York to like pretend to be your boyfriend because your mom's on your back about it all the time. And you know, it's a great hate to love romance. It's very cheesy, very over the top, but goodness me, was it cute, and I enjoyed it. And then the last one, probably the saddest one on this entire list, is The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman. This is a very short story about a father and son finally reuniting after many, many tumultuous years, and his father confiding in him that there is this little girl at a hospital that is dying of cancer, and he has to make some decisions about it. And it's very heart-wrenching, just like Frederick Bachman's books. It's not one of my favorite books by him. I love a lot of his books as well as a lot of his short stories. This one I didn't love a ton, but if you want a short story that's going to resonate with you and like pull your heartstrings, this one is a great one to check out. Those are all the holiday reads that I would like to recommend to you. Hopefully you got some holiday recommendations, and hopefully you can squeeze a few of these in before Christmas time rolls around. I know it's coming up very, very soon. Sorry it's so late, but I had to read some before I, made this video. I would love to hear some of your favorite holiday book recommendations down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.